The morning sunlight streamed through the kitchen window, its orange glow gently illuminating Michael's photographs on the wall. As I prepared breakfast, my eyes drifted to those pictures. His beaming smile at our wedding, his face filled with emotion when Nathan was born, and our family photo from our last vacation together. Each image captured Michael's bright and genuine personality. It's been 3 years now. I whispered to myself as I started making Nathan's special pancakes. Every morning, I carefully prepared breakfast for my son who has a peanut allergy, meticulously checking each ingredient as the warm, inviting aroma filled the kitchen. "Mom, it smells wonderful." 8-year-old Nathan came bounding down the stairs. With his brown curly hair and his father's blue eyes, he may be small in stature, but his smile has the power to brighten any room. "Nathan, no running, please." "Sorry, but the pancakes just smell so good." Nathan sat at the table, looking delightedly at my special pancakes. "Mom, thank you for making peanut-free pancakes for me again today." "Of course, sweetheart. I love seeing your smile." After breakfast, we rushed to get ready. Another busy day awaited me as a sales manager at Century 21 Real Estate. I smoothed my shoulder-length brown hair and slipped into my smart business suit, taking extra care with my makeup to hide the fatigue. "Nathan, do you have everything you need?" "Yes." I packed my homework and textbooks. "What about your EpiPen?" "It's safely in my bag." We got in the car and drove towards school. The desert landscape visible through the car window told the story of another morning in suburban Phoenix. "Mom, guess what? We're doing a solar panel experiment in science class today." "That's wonderful. Your father loved science too." "I know. Dad always showed me cool experiments." Arriving at school, other parents were dropping off their children as usual. Then I spotted Karen Rogers, with her perfect blonde hair and designer clothes. "Well, Jennifer. Running late again. It must be so hard balancing work and single parenting." I had no choice but to ignore the sarcasm behind those words. Karen always looked down on others with her intimidating attitude, using her position as PTA vice president. "Goodbye, Nathan. Have a good day." "Bye, Mom. Work hard today." When I picked him up that afternoon, Nathan seemed different as he got into the car. "What's wrong? Did something happen?" "Billy made fun of me." "About my allergy." "Oh, sweetheart. But it's okay. I'm stronger now." Those words broke my heart. That evening during dinner, Nathan suddenly spoke up. "Mom, for my birthday party, I want to invite everyone from class." "Everyone, including Billy?" "Yes, maybe we can all become friends." I felt tears welling up at my son's kindness. "You're right. Let's prepare the best birthday party ever." "Yay! I'll help with the preparations." I nodded at Nathan's suggestion while smiling at Michael's photo. Surely, he would be proud of how our son was growing up. Saturday morning, my heart started racing the moment I woke up. Today was Nathan's 9th birthday party, meant to be a special memory in our son's life. The decorations we'd prepared the day before sparkled in the morning sun throughout the living room. "Mom, are you up?" Nathan's voice called from upstairs. "Good morning, and happy birthday." I hugged my son as he rushed down the stairs. Though there were still hours until the party, his eyes were already shining with excitement. After breakfast, we immediately began our final preparations. Blue and white balloons swayed elegantly from the ceiling, and a banner reading, "Happy 9th Birthday Nathan," adorned the living room wall. Tables and chairs were already set up in the backyard, with plenty of space for the children to run around. "Nathan, should we move the balloons a bit more to the right?" "That looks better." "Mom, what kind of cake did you get?" "I ordered something special, of course. A custom cake that's safe for you to eat." I answered while thinking about the allergy-safe cake I had double-checked. I'd ordered it from the most trusted bakery in town, having them verify all ingredients. The table was already set with carefully selected snacks and treats, all checked for ingredients and completely peanut-free. I had placed EpiPens in 3 locations: on the living room side table, on the kitchen counter, and in the backyard first aid kit. Emergency contact numbers were posted near the phone. We couldn't have been more prepared. Past noon, we were working on the final preparations. "Mom, is this good for the present table?" "Yes, but let's move it a bit closer so everyone can reach it easily." As Nathan and I were moving the table, the doorbell rang. Looking at the clock, it was before 2 o'clock, too early for any guests. Opening the door, there stood Karen Rogers. Perfect blonde hair, designer dress, and in her hands, a box from an unfamiliar upscale patisserie. "You're early, Karen." "Yes, I thought I could help with preparations. I had this specially ordered from a famous pastry chef I know. It's allergy safe, of course. With this, you won't need the cake you prepared, right?" I was speechless. Refusing would surely create hostility. But accepting a cake from an unknown patisserie. "Thank you, but I already have an ordered cake." "Well, more options are better for the children, don't you think? Everyone will love my cake." There was no room to argue against the pressure in her words. Guests began arriving one after another. Classmates entered the house excitedly, carrying presents wrapped in colorful paper. Parents formed chatting circles, and the house filled with festive energy. "Hey, is Billy coming too?" I heard one of his friends ask Nathan. "Yes, I gave him an invitation." His response carried a mix of small hope and anxiety. Around 3 o'clock, Billy arrived with his mother. Looking somewhat awkward, he held out his present. Happy birthday." "Thanks, I'm glad you came." In that moment, I thought I saw a small sign of reconciliation between them. Finally, it was time for cake. As I was about to bring out the cake I had prepared, Karen stepped in front of me. "Since we have it, let's start with my cake." In front of all the gathered participants in the living room, Karen gracefully opened the box. It was indeed a beautiful cake, decorated with blue and white cream, with "Happy Birthday Nathan" written in gold. The children cheered. As camera flashes went off, the candles were lit. "Here, Nathan. Take the first bite." There was something unnaturally excited about Karen's voice. As Nathan raised his fork to his mouth, my instincts screamed a warning. But it was too late. "Mom, can't breathe." Nathan's face began flushing rapidly, clawing at his throat. His pained expression. The moment I witnessed this scene, my world stopped. Children screamed. Parents panicked. I reflexively grabbed the EpiPen and jabbed it into my son's thigh. Someone had already called an ambulance. Karen's face turned pale. It can't be my cake's fault. They told me it was allergy safe." Her words seemed to come from far away. My focus was entirely on my suffering son. The sound of approaching sirens. The medical team's footsteps rushing into the house. Everything felt like slow motion, detached from reality. "Ma'am, we're taking him to the hospital immediately." The paramedic's voice finally brought me back to my senses. "Nathan, it's all right. Mommy's right here." In the ambulance, I held my son's hand, watching his face with something like a prayer. Though Nathan's condition stabilized shortly after arriving at the hospital, there seemed to be other concerns hidden in the doctor's expressions. The doctor called me outside the treatment room. "Please look at this." I peered at the test results the doctor showed me. "Have you seen this before?" "It's a special additive not found in normal commercial sweets. And this concentration is unnaturally high." In that moment, I felt my blood freeze. Various memories raced through my mind like a film reel. Karen's unnatural behavior. The unfamiliar patisserie box. And that slight sense of something wrong. "Mrs. Wilson, this might not have been an accident." The doctor's words turned my suspicions into certainty. "I need to go. But the tests are still. Please. Just give me a little time." Leaving Nathan's grandmother watching over him as he slept, I left the hospital. It was past 9 p.m., but I drove through the darkness to our house. Inside, evidence of the party from just hours ago remained vivid. Scattered balloons. The half-cut cake. Children's footprints. Everything reminded me of this nightmarish reality. There must be evidence, something. With trembling hands, I began searching through the garbage. Among the party debris, I found what I was looking for, the box from Karen's cake. A small sticker was on the back of the box. "La Patisserie Elegante." An unfamiliar store name. Searching on my smartphone, it was a renowned patisserie in Phoenix's upscale residential area. Digging further through the trash, I found something unexpected. An empty container of special baking additives. On the patisserie receipt was a telling scribble. "Thoroughly. Make sure. But don't let them notice." Seeing those words, my spine froze. This was clearly Karen's handwriting. I recognized the distinctive characteristics I'd seen many times on PTA documents. Despite the late hour, I immediately drove to La Patisserie Elegante. Though closed, light leaked from the employee entrance. "I'm sorry, we're closed, but my son went into anaphylactic shock today from a cake from your shop." The expression of the man who appeared to be the owner changed. "Mrs. Rogers's order. So you know about it." She made quite specific requests. When shown the security camera footage, there was Karen having what appeared to be a private conversation with the pastry chef. After paying at the register, receiving a clearly suspicious package. Actually, I was concerned. She insisted we use additives she brought herself. Additives? Yes. Though labeled allergy safe, it was an unfamiliar product. After taking photos of the evidence, I headed straight to the police station. The nighttime station was wrapped in an unusual silence. "This is a serious accusation." The detective carefully examined the evidence I presented. Security camera footage, receipts, additive containers, these strongly suggest intent. Just then, my cell phone rang. It was the hospital. "Mrs. Wilson, we have additional blood test results." "This is definitely." The doctor's voice was shaking. "This isn't a normal allergic reaction. We detected extremely high concentrations of chemical substances." The police moved immediately. Despite the late hour, a warrant was issued. Karen's home was particularly luxurious, even in the upscale neighborhood. When the intercom was pressed, lights came on after a moment. "What do you want at this hour?" The blood drained from Karen's face as she opened the door. "Mrs. Karen Rogers. Would you please come with us voluntarily?" In the interrogation room, Karen quickly began to break down. "That boy called my son a bully. He ruined my reputation in the PTA. I just wanted to teach him a lesson." Karen began confessing through tears. Her confession revealed how frighteningly planned it all was. "I got the allergy information from the school nurse's records, paid the pastry chef a large sum to keep quiet, ordered the additives from a specialized trading company. I just meant to scare him a little. I never thought it would turn out like this." The detective gave me a knowing look. They had enough evidence. Before dawn, I returned to the hospital. Nathan had woken up and spoke to me in a weak voice. "Mom." "Nathan." "Thank goodness. What happened to the party?" "I'm sorry. It was ruined, wasn't it?" "No. I was happy everyone came." Those words brought tears to my eyes again. But this time, they were different tears. Tears of relief that justice would prevail. That I could protect my loved one. And most of all, that this pure soul remained unharmed. "I'm okay now. I was scared, but I'm so sorry, Nathan. I should have checked more carefully." "It's not your fault, Mom." Holding my son's hand, I looked out the window. The dawn light announced the beginning of a new day. In the misty morning of suburban Phoenix's upscale neighborhood, 3 police cars and 2 unmarked police vehicles quietly arrived in front of the Rogers mansion. The clock showed 8 a.m. Neighbors peered curiously through gaps in their curtains. Four uniformed officers and two plainclothes detectives walked orderly to the entrance. Behind them, local media crews could be seen. Had someone leaked the information, or had they sensed the police movement? The doorbell rang. After a moment of silence, the door opened. "Mrs. Karen Rogers, you are under arrest for attempted murder." The detective's voice in his suit cut through the morning stillness. The blood drained from Karen's face as she stood in her mansion's doorway. Though wearing an expensive silk robe, she had completely lost the dignity she'd shown until yesterday. "Wait. This is a misunderstanding." But the evidence was clear. The patisserie's security footage. Records of special additive purchases. And above all, her own confession. "Karen. What is this about?" David Rogers came running down from the second floor. Even his face, as an influential local business owner, couldn't hide his distress. "David. I. Karen being handcuffed in front of her distraught husband looked like a scene from a high-end drama. After the police car drove away, the community was wrapped in shock. An emergency parent meeting was scheduled at the school. Val Vista Lakes Elementary School's auditorium. The space usually used for children's presentations and school events was filled with unusual tension today. Over 300 parents sat silently, waiting for the principal's explanation. "First, I want to sincerely apologize to Wilson Cohen and his family for this incident." The principal's voice shook. Though a veteran with over 30 years of teaching experience, this must be his first time dealing with such a situation. "As a school, we absolutely cannot condone such a premeditated harmful act by the PTA vice president." Sighs and sounds of distress escaped from the audience. The police report continued. As the investigation details were revealed, the parents' expressions grew increasingly tense. "I would like to present specific proposals for a new safety management system." The vice principal stepped forward to begin his presentation. A new allergy response system. Enhanced security. And a complete reorganization of the PTA. After the parent meeting, people came to speak to me one after another. Among them were those who had previously been cold to me under Karen's influence. A few days later, I was meeting with my lawyer. "Mrs. Wilson, the prosecution intends to seek the maximum sentence. Is there enough evidence?" "Yes. Security camera footage, purchase records, medical records, and her own confession. A guilty verdict is certain." Returning home after the meeting, Nathan was waiting with a serious expression. "Mom, I'll take the witness stand. I want to tell everyone the truth." "But Nathan, aren't you scared?" "It's okay. Because you'll be watching over me, right?" His determination left me speechless. My son was showing strength beyond his 8 years. The morning of the trial. The Gilbert District Court was filled with tense atmosphere. "All rise." The Honorable Judge entering. The trial began in a solemn atmosphere. The prosecutor's opening statement was powerful. The defendant endangered an 8-year-old boy's life merely for revenge. "This is unacceptable behavior as a parent, as an educator, and above all, as a human being. Karen kept her head down in the defendant's seat. Gone were her former dignity and arrogant attitude, leaving only the figure of a frightened middle-aged woman. Witness testimonies continued. The pastry chef, doctor, police officer, and Nathan. Though small in stature, my son stood firmly at the witness stand. That day, I was really looking forward to it. I thought it would be a chance to become friends with everyone. Nathan spoke with a trembling voice but never backed down. Everyone in the courtroom was moved by his courage. After the final arguments, the time for judgment finally came. Defendant Karen Rogers, I sentence you to 5 years in prison. The judge's voice echoed through the courtroom. The sentencing reasons included aggravating factors such as premeditation, victim being a minor, and abuse of position as an educator. After the verdict, amid the rush of reporters, the school announced new safety measures. A complete review of allergy protocols, PTA reform, and strengthened anti-bullying programs. This incident became a catalyst for strongly advocating the importance of school safety to society. On the drive home, Nathan spoke softly in the car. "Mom, we did the right thing, didn't we?" "Yes, you were very brave. Now everyone can go to school safely." Our car continued driving toward a new tomorrow. First day of the new semester, 1 year later. The Arizona morning sun streamed through the kitchen window just like always. Michael's photo still hung in the same place. "Mom, I'm starting 5th grade today." My son, now taller, called out with a stronger voice. In his new uniform, he looked remarkably grown up. "Nathan, you've really grown." On the breakfast table, as usual, were allergy-safe pancakes. However, this was no longer something special. Since the incident, the whole school had thoroughly implemented allergy safety measures, including special menu options in the cafeteria. "Hey, we're getting a new teacher today." "Oh really?" They say she specializes in supporting children with allergies. The school had changed significantly after the incident. New safety management systems, allergy-safe school lunches, and a new curriculum called the Empathy Education Program. Children were learning the importance of understanding and supporting each other's differences. On the way to school, we heard a familiar voice. "Nathan, wait up." Turning around, there was Billy. He had transferred schools to receive counseling but was returning this semester. "I've been thinking a lot during counseling. I've been through a lot too." Their conversation no longer held any tension. Instead, there was warmth between them as friends who had grown together. Arriving at school, the former PTA room had been transformed into a community support center. It functioned as a place where parents could freely gather and discuss parenting concerns. The previous power structure had been completely dissolved, replaced by a network of mutual support. "Good morning, Mrs. Wilson." Sarah Johnson, the new PTA president, greeted me with a warm smile. Under her leadership, the PTA had returned to what it should be. Regular safety workshops, strengthened cooperation between parents, and most importantly, all decisions were now made through open discussion. During lunch break, I stopped by the school between work commitments. In the courtyard, children were playing happily. Among them, I could see Nathan and Billy playing basketball with other children. I suddenly thought of Karen. Her letter from prison had arrived 2 months ago. My actions are unforgivable. However, this experience has made me reconsider how to live as a human being. I hope to someday give back to society what I've learned through the rehabilitation program. I sensed genuine remorse in those words. I heard that Karen's husband had remarried, and their son was adapting well to his new environment. It was their own way of making a fresh start. The incident had greater social impact than expected. Revision of the School Safety Act. Mandatory allergy measures. Enhanced anti-bullying programs. Our experience became a catalyst for making the future a little safer for many children. In the evening, I was preparing for Nathan's new birthday party. This year, we'd borrowed the school's multipurpose hall to invite more friends. All the food was allergy safe. And most importantly, all the children's smiles brightened the place. We've grown stronger, I whispered while smiling at Michael's photo. Dad, are you watching? I quietly nodded at Nathan's words. In the twilight park, after finishing the final preparations, we sat on a bench for a while, looking up at the sky. Children playing on the equipment. Parents chatting. A gentle breeze seemed to announce the arrival of a new season. Mom, I've decided I want to become a pediatrician. I want to help children who struggle with allergies. At those words, I couldn't help but hug my son. Our difficult experience had indeed made us stronger. And more than anything, it had taught us the kindness of caring for others. The light of a new dawn quietly enveloped Phoenix. Our story was about to begin a new chapter.